next show we're going to be talking about is Classroom of the Elite.
This is like a roller coaster for me on this one. Because it gets interesting, then it gets kind of tedious, and it gets interesting, then it kind of drops off, gets a little dull, then it gets interesting again. I'm like, what the hell? Why? Stop it, you know? But okay, so basis of this one is kind of like, in my opinion, kind of like classroom assassination or assassination classroom. Yeah, assassination classroom, where you have the different classes. And each one is given, more prestige and whatnot, and better money, better facilities, all this good stuff. Your academics are your academics and how well you do would then dictate your life in this school. The better you are, the better you get, and the worse you are, the worse you get. But they make it interesting, and I think this school is interesting on its own because they have said you can buy anything as long as you have enough credits. Nothing in this school you cannot buy, and they made a point of that by the fact that there was a guy who did not pass his test, but he was only 1 point off from being able to pass, and it brought down the whole class because of it. So eventually, the main character, the guy there, the one on the bottom left-hand corner, he ends up buying a point for the guy so he could actually pass.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just, because he even made a point of that, because he goes up to the teacher they were talking on the roof, and he goes, so let me get this straight. You said at the beginning of the school that we can buy anything, correct? She's like, yeah, why? I'd like to buy a point. And she kind of looked at him, kind of grinned half to go, it's going to cost you. I'm aware of that. I just want to make sure we get this so for everyone in our class to actually pass. And it's things like that. It's interesting in the story and how things take place, and there's an underlying backstory with the main character, the main character throughout all of it, where he's gone through some special training and some special schooling when he was real little. And he is like way more than what he seems. The thing about it is, though, my main gripe with this whole thing is that the main character, and there might be an actual legitimate reason they just haven't gone into it for it, but the main character is so monotone, so one-dimensional, that it just makes it really difficult and challenging to actually get invested with him.
That reminds me of Aldenoa Zero, because that character also was very monotone.
Yep, he does some really cool things, and the way he plans things out is amazing. And his way of his intellect is obviously very much so there, which makes me drawn towards him. I'm like, oh, he's a really cool character. But his one-dimensional monotoneness, I'm just like, oh my god, dude, really, seriously, something, give me something, please. The other characters around him are more interesting and engaging than he is.
Yeah.
But they're not, obviously you're with him more times than not, and it just becomes so frustrating because of it, and then all the background dealing and what he does, he actually, when people ask him about it, he'll give credit to somebody else because he doesn't want the limelight. Yeah. He likes to stay out of the limelight.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those characters that I kind of want to like just sneak up behind and be like, rah! But then I bet he'll be like, oh, hey, what's up? And I'll be like, come on, man.
Something, just show something, the motion of some sort, so it's the setup. It reminds me of so many different animes, Assassination Classroom. The characters can remind me from a couple different animes, and it's interesting and it's engaging to a point with the storyline, but the character himself, and that's why that's why for me it ranked kind of lower on my list, because even though it's got a lot of potential, I just don't think it really lives up to it per se. Mm-hmm. And it's just, like even the girl, the brown-haired girl in the picture, like you end up, she's always been like bubbly and sweet and everything.
Oh, the one that's trying to be everybody's friend.
Everyone's friend. At one point, he ends up coming across her. She's on like near the waterfront or whatever, and she's like a complete 180 when no one's around. She is like dark, and she is like, she was kicking like the pole fencing, being like, that little bitch, I'm just gonna, and I was just like, holy, and even he was just like, And then she ends up seeing him, and she actually, in order to keep him quiet, threatens to say that he tried to sexually assault her.
I hate when characters do that.
Yeah.
God.
And even like goes so far as to grab his hand and put it on her breast, and just like, because he's like, you have no proof of that, and she goes, I have fingerprints now because of you. And then she just like, and every now and then when they're alone or whatever, she'll let that other side of her come out, and I'm just like, that's just wow. But see, at least that shows more characterization than he does.
Yeah, because I'm like completely ignored who she's doing that to. I'm just like focused completely on her.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So it's just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and they keep alluding to more things with him, because apparently his father, whether it's not his real father or not, has actually approached the school and asked to have him expelled. And now the teacher has said, as long as you keep striving to get to class A from class D, I won't expel you. But if you ever stop or you ever don't, then I will expel you. Kind of forcing his hand in that regards. But it's like, and and it keeps showing like snippets of him in his past with like smaller kids, and it seemed like he was on like some sort of encampment or whatever, and he had like some sort of special training, it seems. And I'm just like, what was his deal? What happened in his life in the past to cause this?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm intrigued and curious to find out what. And I'm it almost seems like he's purposely trying to put himself out of the way where he's not in the limelight, and he's not seen as excelling as he is or probably could be. And I want to know why. But it's like they keep alluding to things without saying anything, which makes me interested. But again, character is so infuriating that he's just so one-dimensional, monotone. I'm just like, oh my god, dude, seriously, get an emotion, something. So
okay. Well, I guess overall, kind of like how we did with all these series, is it? Of course, they probably haven't explained everything now that you've like introduced some new things into the story. But as far as like how much have they buttoned up, is like, do you think they're going to just keep on going, or?
I mean, they definitely could. They barely even scratched the surface, I feel. So it was definitely like, it was a conclusion for what they were doing at the time, but it was everything else is still like left wide open.
Okay. You think they're gonna do like an Assassination Classroom, or they're like, this is the first core, and then like come back like months later and then do
maybe
a couple more cores?
I mean, I know it's not in the next season, so they got to be doing something with it, but I'm not sure. I didn't think it was continuing like Yokai Apartment was, but I could be wrong. So
cool. Yeah, when I watched this, I liked it. Just like how Aldo Zero had a monotone character. I'm used to like, I'm not really used to it, but I'm okay with monotone characters like that. I had a feeling that that little bubbly girl was gonna be kind of two-faced because of something that happened in the first episode, where it's like she tried to be someone's friend and the girl just kind of shot her down, and then she like tried to go around the other girl to kind of like make them meet and like have lunch. Yeah. So I could see her like eventually breaking down, or not eventually breaking down, but like somebody actually catching her being her real identity, like real personality. So. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I like the whole switch that they did at the end of the first episode, where they're like, "Ha! You thought you could do whatever you want, but you can't." So
yeah,
I actually like it. I'm not sure if I like the switch of the teacher. She was just like completely laid back and not really saying anything, and then all of a sudden it just like dropped the hammer. It's like, these are the rules. But I'm curious to see like how, like, I want to know more about that character. So I'm kind of Yeah, I'm definitely on board for watching this. This is higher up on the list as far as stuff I want to watch, because it's really, really cool. And there's a lot of characters I want to know more about. So it's still going on the list, but it's like up there on the...
I didn't know what necessarily to expect with this, but I'm going to say that whatever I expected with this, it wasn't this. It's not to say that it's bad. I don't want to overly generalize, but I think every kid's dream of like having a superhero school and then like legitimizing